Pleasant good morning, pleasant good Monday morning to one and all. Welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome one and all. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you're looking forward to a productive week. Welcome. Here we are this Monday, the 26th day of May, 2025. Guyana's 59th Independence Anniversary date. Welcome and happy Independence Anniversary to all you Guyanese, especially the patriotic ones. You know, you have some of them, like the one who advocated to say that Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. They are not patriotic, so I guess they have nothing to celebrate, really. But for all those who are patriotic and all those who know that Essequibo belongs to Guyana, happy Independence Anniversary to you all. Welcome. Share the live. Let people know that we're on, because some might have suspected, because today is a holiday in Guyana in respect of Independence Day, holiday in the US too in respect of Memorial Day, that maybe we would not have been on. But you remember we did announce on Friday that we would be on today, Monday. And that was by consensus of the students. You know, we as teachers, we listen to our students. And people said that it will be good for us to come on Monday, today, to bring you the credible, valuable information. And, you know, it's a good thing we did set schedule for today, because we all heard of the announcement made last night at the flag raising ceremony. And in case you didn't hear it, we're going to talk about it a little bit more. That is, the president announced that September 1 will be, Guyanese will be heading to the poll for regional, national, and regional elections on Monday, September the 1st, 2025. So here we are. We're going to talk some more about it as we go on. But share the live, let people know that we're on. Don't forget to give us the thumbs up as you come into the classroom. Give us the thumbs up to show your appreciation. We will do what we have to do, and we ask you to do what you have to do. Your homework, and when you come, show your appreciation for the teachers. The program was scheduled this morning just before, 1 minute before 7. And my Lord, by the time I got into the studio, many students were already here. As you know, and we are enthused by that, you know, to see the level of support that we get from new students. CC and I would tell you, everywhere we go, people telling you how informative, educational they find this program. Are we going to continue? And now that we are into the silly season, I think it is even more important that we continue to come and to bring you valuable and credible information. Today, Monday, the 26th of May, 2025, another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. Many are not that fortunate, and we should not stop giving praise and thanks. We should not take these things for granted. The fact that we are here on this program, the fact that we have seen a new day, should not be taken for granted. So yeah, the program was scheduled at 7, 1 minute before, and the students rushed into the schoolyard. Many of them, a few came in 6:59, and a whole set between 7 o'clock, 7:01, and so the students came in. So welcome. Just share the live. Let them know that we're on. The numbers are mounting already. We anticipate, well, we don't know if today's holiday, people might want to sleep in, both in the US and in Guyana. We don't know if people want to get up out of their bed. 11 o'clock is still an early time for some people who have worked all week and want to sleep. Those who would have enjoyed themselves last night, wherever they would have gone to, they might want to sleep in. So let them know that we're on, and we're going to be with you in a moment. My colleague, Mr. Conway CC, is already in the studio. When we checked out the system this morning, we can hear him loud and clear, and he can hear me well. So things are on stream for us to have a wonderful holiday program today. So welcome again. Welcome. Subscribe to the channel. Don't ever forget that. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and also if you're a Facebooker, follow the page on Facebook so you can get notification when we go live. We will have to go live at Suspect pretty often these days, you know. You know, we started out once a week, then we increased it to 2, and you may have noticed for the past 3 or 4 weeks we have pushing on Fridays, because we have so much to tell you, and we don't want the backlog. We don't want to miss out on anything. And when we address a subject, we want to go into it in great detail. So we have to give ourselves time. You know, we take like about 2 hours of your time to make sure that you are informed of what is going on. So yes, here we are, Shady Life. And we're going to run the roll call, and then after the roll call, we're going to make some announcements, and then we're going to go straight into it. So welcome once again. Roll call, 6:59. First person in was from the UK. Wayne was here first. Sean was there with him at 6:59 as well. Those two students came in at 6:59, and then 7 o'clock, Tessa, Aubrey, Rosalind, Puran from Essequibo Coast, Marcia, Clifton from Paris is here at 7, Aubrey from Canada, John, Lynette from the UK. Then we had Gibbo is here with us, Carl, Sandra, Carlton, my squad mate, 9430. Brian is here at 7, Esla, Denise, watching now, attending classes from Florida, Joan from New Amsterdam, and then shortly thereafter at 7:01, Derek, Evelyn, Cecile, Kenneth from Maryland, the secretary Denise, Anthony, Claire, Courtney, Ezzy, he came at 7:02, and the list goes on. Ricky Smith, Anthony, Donald, Patricia, Clifton, Pastor Smith is here with us, Earl, Rosalind, Mary, and it was Peter, Bernard, Arl, William, Vibert, then it was Joy, Gordon, Pauline, Queenie, Diane, then Pinky, Felicia, Randolph, Bonita, Pamela from West Dem, Ulrich from West Dem, Pito from Queens, Magnell, Jacko from Georgia, Derek. Then after Derek it was Vivian, Desiree, and Desiree is normally from Georgia, but she's still in Meadowbrook. I think she had a death in her family. Moses, Terrence, and Terrence is from Canada, 9795. Wayne, then it was Paulette, Malcolm, Ned is here with us, 9218, I think it is. I think that was the number. People always ask how I remember all these policemen numbers and so on. I remember some of course I can't remember all, but I remember a lot of numbers I know. Paulette, Elton, Stephen, Barbara, Selwyn, Leon, Vashti, Charlene, 15425. I remember that number. Carol, Uncle Paul is here with us. This is the next. Wayne is here. Next, let me get it going. Another Wayne, Gavin, Patrick, 12128 from the UK. Emerson. Then it was Sydney, Russ, Ricardo, Vibert from the East Bank of Demerara. Clive, 12789. He's from the UK as well. Then we have Jean, Lester, Daniel, Raul. Raul is 11752. K, Mandela, Anthony, 11032. Henrik, Vorlin. Then after Vorlin, it was Kevin, 12729. Am I correct? Then we have Sean, Ivla, 0539 is here with us. Albert, 0892. Rhonda. Then it was Glendis. Maureen, Francis Keith from Melanie Damashana. Melinda Jr. is here with us. Sharon, John from Tennessee. Umi is here. Clarence, Annette, Maury is here with us. Junior, Ulrich, 9555, my squad mate, is out of Barbados. Gavin, Jakey from Maryland. Lyndon, Siobhan, Carville. Carville is a squad mate of mine too. Vibert, this is the next Vibert. Rayburn, 10079. Floyd is back. George, 0892, I think is his number. Dorette, Raquel is here. Andre, Rhonda, then I'm still in the house. Tessa, Princess Earl, 6123 is here. Lyndon, Lorraine, Ridley, the Angel, Ronald, Roxanne, then it was Tian, Father Masha is with us. Orin, then Smitty, 7464, Vibert is here. Danis, 9731, Monica, Sherwin, Barled. Barled, me I know your number. I know it's not 00 not. You have a better number than that. Well, Barled is here. Ian Lucius is here with us. Stanford, Then I can't recall seeing Stanford before. Maybe it's one of Mr. Conway's relatives, Stanford Conway. Claudette, Sagi, Stephen, Jarvis, 9602, Grantley, Hope is here. Phil, Norbert. Then it was Malvern. Then Norbert, again, Fergus is Dexter, Don. Can't recall seeing Don before too, but you might have been here. Cloyd, Amanda, Derek. Then it was Hazel, Malcolm, Valda, Carlisle, says 8046. Yonette, Terence, Sharon from the UK. Charles Britton is here with us. Port Cash. Then it was George, my countryman. Winston from California. Morton, Ross Levi. David, Karen, Allison, Michael, 14126. He is in the British Virgin Islands. Doreen from Canada, my squad mate. And Sion, Claude, Winslow, Simone. Then it was Lawrence, Accra. Sandrine Baird, Angela, Chilo is here. Mark, Verlin, Yesan, not a slow, from Trinidad. Then it is Mark there. Then it was David, Lennox, Paul, Paulette, Orville, Kerry from Maryland, Christy, Joseph, Jeffrey, Margot, Rastaman, Michelle, Ivor, Basil. Then it was Delon, David, then Audrey, then Clay is the last one in the schoolyard. See the number of students we have. And then when we went live, here we are, our boy again, Edward Charles, then Carlton. The two of them get a race to see who's going to come in the door first, you know. Then it was Abu from the Essequibo Coast, Simone, and the list goes on and on and on. Matthew, Rosie Rose, and the Umu, and a long list. Another Raquel is here. So yeah, we have a lot of students in. So having made the roll call, let me do some announcements quickly. I want to remind you all, you said about this election year, but we know now that the date set is September the 1st. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when we, so as we finish and we introduce Mr. Conway, we're going to come back to that. Then we also tell you what the dates, the one that we have to announce today is the death of former parliamentarian Valerie Garrido Lowe. You know, Valerie Garrido Lowe was in the last parliament, a member of the Alliance for Change. She was also a minister of the government, I think a junior minister in the previous administration. The report is that she passed away yesterday morning after a brief period, I think they say cardiac arrest, a brief period of illness, and she passed away. Now, I want to express condolences to our relatives, friends, members of our party on our sudden passing. We also I have to also remind you that yesterday, March 12, 2025, was the 5th anniversary of the death of George Floyd. You remember that? You know, these things tend to just pass like that. Just pass. George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. You remember that? Where the policeman, Shavin, I think was his name, knelt on his neck. Alex, Shavin knelt on his neck for what? How long? 46 minutes, according to the records. And the man's last words were, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. He tell them I can't breathe. He tell the police I can't breathe. Police stood around. They want to put his knee on his neck, have him lying there for some minor offense. And then the others stood around. Well, you know, in a place where the rule of law applies, despite what you all want to say about the United States, Shavin was convicted for, I have it written here. He was found guilty of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. He was sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison. And the other officers who stood around there while this was taking place, they too were charged and convicted. They too were charged and convicted. Yes, we mustn't forget it. George Floyd. It was on the 25th of May, 2020, that he was killed by the police. And it was in Minnesota, right? Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, where that incident took place. And the world saw it. Instead we said thanks to phone cameras and this thing. The world saw exactly what took place. And despite all the dodging and bobbing and weaving and the trying to think, the world saw the policeman shoving, kneeling on this man's neck. So even though the man calling out, I can't breathe, there is this man continued to kneel on the man, killing him, charged with murder. The last set of police who get convicted in Guyana for murder that I can remember, I'm even sure if it's murder or manslaughter, was the killing of the UG student. Remember the UG student who was killed? Douglas was his name. That was the last thing. The policeman, 2 policemen, I think, were sentenced in that thing. But you had so many other killings. And here, let me say in this, we always say there are cases, perhaps many cases, where the police will be justified in using lethal force. Justified in using lethal force. For example, I read in the paper recently where a man was charged with some offense, he shot at the police. Now I'm saying this, that if you shoot at the police have a right under the law. Yeah, UNC Douglas, thank you, Sean. UNC Douglas was the student who was killed, and those two policemen were convicted, sentenced in that. The law gives the police the right, and I'll talk about it, we can talk about it as we go along. In a case like that, a man shoot at the police have a right to return fire. A danger that is clear and present danger. And if he dies, then, well, so be it. You have an inquest. You got to go through when it says so be it. See, that means you just shoot it like that. You have a process. Inquest might very well find no one was criminally responsible for his death. But all them things fall through now. You don't have those things in Guyana any longer. Yeah, so I got to remind you all about that. And today, today is 437 days since Police Sergeant Alex Vaughan, was shot and killed. They claim it was by a colleague. And apart from the initial reporting, we haven't heard anything further about what has happened to that thing. Yes, my brother, thanks. Gerald Alonzo was one of the policemen who was charged. Gerald Alonzo is one of the policemen convicted in the matter. And we don't follow up this thing to find out what has happened, whether he done serve his time or what. You don't. That's the problem we have with our journalists. Things happen and it just float away. So we're gonna come and we're gonna remind you of some of these things. And then we're not gonna forget to Adriana Young's murder. And I calling it murder. That is what I'm calling it. Because I see a man commented that, I biased because I'm calling the thing murder. Well, I will continue to be biased. Because based on the evidence, she did not die in the pool. I'm saying that loud and clear. Based on the evidence that we all see, that those of us who can analyze, I have analyzed what is there, and she did not die in the pool. And if she did not die in the pool, she obviously died elsewhere, and therefore she was murdered. Right? She was murdered. We're gonna talk about it some more. We're gonna talk about it. But after those sad stories, let me come to tell you the happier ones. Birthdays today. Woman Assistant Superintendent Jillian Simmons. Jilly, happy birthday to you. Today is also the birth anniversary of Mrs. Cheryl McCammon. She was a former supervisor at the Police Daycare Center. Her husband is a regular on the program. So I want to wish her and Jilly all the best today on your natal day. And for those who would have celebrated too. On Friday, when I did the birthday greetings, so the advanced birthday greetings, I left out Raquel Dotson, whose birthday was yesterday. I left it out. So Raquel, forgive me, belated birthday greetings to you, my dear. Belated birthday greetings to you. And in terms of advanced birthday greetings to a very loyal student, I'm talking about Shalon Altia Harper. Her birthday is tomorrow. So Shalon Alti, as we will call her Alti, and all those people who are celebrating today, who celebrated recently, and who are celebrated in the next few days, happy birthday to you all. Before I bring in Mr. Conway, I just want to say congratulations to the, I last told you that Guyana they had the West Indies full bull shooting competition in Barbados. Well, Guyana won the long range. That was shot for hour on Friday. And the long range, as I explained, is 900,000 yards. And we have been dominant in that over the years. I recall in recent years, recently in the last 10 years, maybe one time, I suspect we have lost that. And I think it was right in Guyana. We always win in the long range championship. So that was expected. But I felt a little disappointed yesterday when I learned that they were not able to win the short range over the 3, 6, and 500 yards, which is the symbol of rifle shooting supremacy in the Caribbean. And Antigua won. And, you know, I have to congratulate that Antiguan team because a few years ago, I remember the first time we in Guyana knew that Antiguans shot full bore was at the Commonwealth Games in Australia. I think it was a Melbourne Commonwealth Game in Australia. When we went to the range, we saw 2 Antiguans there. We used to tease them because we used to say they got sport model rifle and all of that. But those people have come a long, 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 long way. And therefore, I want to congratulate them on winning. They beat Barbados, they beat Trinidad, they beat Barbados, Guyana, the Jamaica. They cut people's tail. And congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to the Antigua rifle team. Now, let me bring in, we got to talk a little about cricket and so on, but let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're going to go on. CC, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. Birthdays, greetings are in place. And I wish to shout out to Raquel Dotson. She was once my secretary, excellent worker. Raquel, happy birthday. I know, Paul, we get some dedicated and amazing students. Saturday, and people are always reaching out to me on the street. I don't know why. I met one of our students by the Gayak car park, bus park. And she called out to me, CC. She said, I just put you on pause. And I had to rush down to town to buy something. And I told them, don't touch that dial. That I'll be coming back to listen, you know. And she said she's an ardent listener. She don't miss out. So there's it. She put it on pause, gone down the tongue, and then going back home to, you know, to listen again, you know. And she's from Meadowbrook. I wouldn't call her name because she didn't give me permission to call her name. And I want to shout out to Desiree, who is holidaying in Meadowbrook area. Hope you enjoy your time, and I think you sometime next week you might be leaving for the United States of America where you reside in. That's all I need to say for the while.
Yeah, continue with some announcements briefly. You know, we told you about cricket. You know, we have a lot of cricket fans on the channel. Sean, Jacko, so many people we have are cricket fans. So we got to remind them. West Indies won the last one-day game in Ireland. Oh, fantastic score, 350. They made 350 something runs. Casey Carty, a second consecutive ODI 100. I think he ended up with 170. And Casey has come a long, 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 long way. Casey has come a long way. I remember Casey as under 19 in the 2016 World Cup. And people said, oh, Casey looked like he could hardly score a run until he got into the final. When we got into the final, that was the man who anchored that team with Etimayan, Kimo Paul, and Azari Joseph. It was Casey Carty, but we don't remember him. So now, good to see that he is blossoming now to become a solid international player. Congratulations to him. So West Indies were able to level the series, having lost the first game. The second game, they scored heavily in the second game, but then the weather intervened, and then we had yesterday's, the blew Ireland away. Well, the big test now is that because they move on to England to take part in some one-day games against England. But I could tell you this, playing cricket in May, for West Indians playing cricket in May in England is not an easy thing. I had the privilege of touring with the West Indies team in May in 2012, I think it was. And freezing, oh my Lord. You were freezing there and men had to go out. I remember some players put on 3-4 sweaters to go out and bat. And they complain you can't feel your fingers numb. The physio had to go and get and warmers and all them things. It ain't easy. It ain't easy, right? Not easy at all to play when you're a West Indian accustomed to warm weather to go in May month and play cricket in England. So having said that, I gotta wish them well. Wish them well to make sure they put up a good fight. That's the important thing, to put up a good fight. What Ricky is saying there, yeah, I had a retiree, you got to investigate only. Oh, well, maybe true. One of the students is saying there that CC, one of the students saying that maybe a guy hire that retired RCMP sergeant to investigate CC, why only females interacting with CC. Never talk about any male student meeting and telling anything. That might be a good investigation indeed. That might be something good to investigate. So let me say too, as we have said before, independence. Today is the 59th anniversary of Guyana's independence from the Great Britain. I remember well, I was a little boy in 1966, the 26th of May 1966. And as I indicated before, oh man, it was a joyful occasion. You never knew what it was as a little boy. You heard they talk about independence and the big set of celebration. People tramping and steel band around the village, and you there enjoy masquerade band and all sort of thing. And the question is often asked, what have we achieved as a nation since then? 1966, 59 years ago. 59, many of you here, I suspect, weren't even born then. But we were around. What have we as a nation achieved? I dare to say that we are more divided now than at any time. Since we attained nationhood on the 26th of May, 1966, I think now, in this time, we as a country are more divided than any other time. And perhaps we have reasons to be this, with all the thieving and so on that going on. Not easy to sit down and to see what is going on. People don't want us to unite. Let me understand this. There are politicians who see value in Guyanese remaining divided. They see value in that. So they talk about race, they do all sort of things. And then at times like these, election time, they suddenly find religion. They're going to run to the church on Good Friday. A terrible, well, I don't know how to describe that sight. Run to the church in Good Friday. They're going to run and do out there. They're going to open conference with the church and all them type of thing. All the time, they don't know nothing about church. And many of them who you see running to the church, they don't believe in religion. They don't believe in religion. They're atheists. They're not Christian. And even some of them who claim to be Christian, they are more hypocritical and devilish than anything else. Right? You know about what the Bible says? He who knows the master's will and does it not, it's not only a matter of time. And you know, when we talk about the death of Geraldo Rowe, you know, sometimes you want to question how that can happen to good people. And you have all these vagabonds. You have all these vagabonds there. And what happens? They're sailing, thieving, and making people's life miserable. If some of them were to pass on, nobody must miss them. Some of them, they're wrong. The propagandists, they're alleged to have kicked their mother down the step. They kicked their mama down step. And they're still alive to breathe the air that we are breathing, to share the air that we are breathing and so on. But I'm saying, after 59 years, I don't know if we can really say that we have advanced. Can we say that we are not united as a people? We remain even more divided now. Even more divided. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to have his say on that, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. CC, 59 years of independence. What have we achieved as a people, my brother?
Well, we're more divided than before, because I remember listening to the program on the Independence Night. I was 12 years old, and we had I think a Grundig radio, a German built radio, and I listened to it, you know, and amazingly when I heard that Prime Minister Bonham and the then opposition leader Janet Jagan hug up at the national park, and that was unity. And now we have the president and the leader of the opposition. They're not talking. The president not even briefing the leader of the opposition or the party in relation to the crisis with Venezuela. Times have changed. Here is it that they had Bonham and Jagan hug up at the national park during the independence celebration. And here now we're more divided than anything else. The opposition leader and the president, there's no confabulation. It's very, very sad.
Very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad. And it's going to get even worse in the next 3 months. It's going to get worse in the next 3 months. I know in terms of moving on, we have let me say, right. Today is Memorial Day in the US. And let me understand, because a veteran actually posted something which caused me to rethink. It's not something to tell somebody happy Memorial Day. It's not something to be happy about. It's an observation, or it's so symbolizes you are observing the death of all those people over the years who died in the wars and so on. So it's not something to celebrate. It's not like Independence is celebrating. You observe it. Fallen people, fallen heroes, all of them fallen. So yes, it should be a very solemn day where we reflect on all those who gave their lives for what we call freedom today, because it is said without their sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifice that they made, we might not be where we are today. Even as bad a place as we're in, perhaps we might have been in a worse place, right? Then the next. Well, let me go back now to before I go to that. We're talking about the corruption and so on. We're talking about election and talk about the corruption. They're telling you about development, but when I went to university, it's a good thing I went to University of Guyana, not of IFLOT, right? And they would always tell you about growth and development. I think it's Frantz Fanon. The students here might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. Frantz Fanon spoke about growth and development, and one of the texts that you had to read and so on. And they have a lot of what they call development. I know when you get growth in your economy, that does not necessarily equate to development. Because what you have, you see construction all over the place. Madness, nothing planned. So there's a situation where it was reported some time ago that they built a police station. And then a couple months after, they realized a road got to pass close to this police station. So they're blocking down part of the police station to accommodate this road. And they call that development. They're going around the place. We had situation in, if you recall, in South, Harry Barker Street, pole falling down. They had it again, I think it's in Church Avenue, poles falling down. Because they have the light poles, and they're digging. They're planting pole, concrete pole, and then without proper foundation, they're falling down. Right? And then what happened? You got to come pay people to do it back. Saturday again, Saturday, this was on the East Coast Embankment Road. East Coast Embankment Road. This is corruption. This is not development. This is corruption. And then, if I listen to Francis Bailey, he had a live on Saturday, and a man who did not want his face to be on camera. The man said nothing wrong. If you're digging, think of a fall down. That is what this man was telling Francis. That we're doing work. Look what we're going on here. They're excavating to put in whatever is revetment or whatever. And the poles. What you expect? You don't have to be an engineer to know that. That if you undermine the foundation, especially now with all the rains that you get, the poles are going to fall. That is what is going on. And then what's going to happen? People are going to pay money. And the man said something to the effect, well, they shouldn't worry. We can repair the ones that fall first. That is what was being said. It is there on social media for people to go look at. I know Francis Bailey's post. This is what they call development. A hazard infrastructure work. Obviously no proper plan. Causing so much inconvenience to people on the East Coast and the other corridors. Even Jagdeo, about a month ago, complained, call out Ejil, who is the minister responsible. Jack Dio on one of his programs, call out Ejil. That is what you have. That is what you have. The concussion road. Can you imagine that concussion road that the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, called out? Then the president, Guyana president, come out after and say, oh, well, the plan is to put asphalt over the road. When there was a plan, that was never the plan. The plan was to have it a concrete road. And I told you all, if you want to investigate who are the ones bringing in the cement for them concrete roads all over the place. Some are not even roads. Some are strips, walkways, they call road. Investigate who are the ones bringing the cement from Turkey and elsewhere. And you will see how organized this corruption is. You will see that, right? So that is what we have. That is what you have, right? CC, let me bring you in to have you say on that, man. Poles falling down all over the place. You're driving there, all sort of unplanned arrangement, causing tremendous inconvenience. Your take, my brother.
Well, as you mentioned it, poor planning. Hello? Poor planning. And it's like, it's PPPC, Poor planning promotes chaos, confusion, catastrophe.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Poor planning promotes catastrophe. PPPC. Poor planning promotes catastrophe or chaos. You can think. Brilliant, my brother. Brilliant. But that is what you have, and they're going to tell this development. Where people punishing, the thief in the money left, right, and center. Can you imagine, folks? Let me talk about it. They're going to say you're talking politics. I don't care. Can you imagine? A few months ago, about 3 months ago, this government boasted of presenting the largest budget ever, $1.something trillion. Just a few short months ago, $1.something trillion, the other thing. Last week, they went back to Parliament for 50-something, 57-point-something billion dollars. What type of planning is that? And that is why I encourage you all to listen to Mr. Winston Jordan on Thursdays on CAMS TV, because he can break it down. He's a man with figure economics and so on. He can tell you. But a government that went to Parliament about 3 months ago and presented what was touted to be the largest budget ever, $1.something trillion Guyana dollars. Now they're going back to Parliament for 50-something, 57, I think, 0.9 billion, $57.7 billion. Stand, student. $57.7 billion. So what was the plan? What type of planning took place for them to arrive at this $1.something trillion in the first place? But they know they have to thief a lot. They didn't cater for all the thieving that was expected to take place. But they run, we see now, they run last week, because last night, at the announcement of elections on the 1st of September, then you got to dissolve Parliament within 3 months, I think it is. 3 months, so by the 1st of June, Parliament has to be dissolved. So that's where they run the quick time, $57.7 billion, more money for thief. But it can't be, Grace, it can't be only election money, because I'm saying that if you were planning, we are talking since last year that we know, according to the Constitution, you should have election this year. So why that wasn't planned for and presented in the budget? Why? Why it wasn't planned for and presented in the budget? It showed that you have incompetent people, and that's what we talk about here, incompetence and corruption. Because you can't justify to any reasonable person presenting a budget about 3 months ago and then going back now for $57.7 billion and claim, well, we can't get election this year. We knew it's 5 years in Guyana. Every 5 years, the Constitution says must have elections. So why you didn't budget for it in this year's election, in this year's budget? You have to come now? It's just thieving money that want to thief, right? More money to steal. I think there's the politically correct word. But we are no steal. We talk about thief. Thief in. That is what's going on. Now let me move on to this. I think the most one of the topical things. Yesterday we had elections in Suriname, I'm not sure what the results are. And then yesterday too, the Venezuelans said they had this sham election to determine officers for Essequibo, right? Now, we have some people who call themselves government, and I remember Shooter Scoot Ben saying that, look, if anybody in any Guyanese take part in this thing, they're going to be charged with treason, and they're going to send to jail. Omar Khan, Dr. Omar Khan, the chief of staff, in case you all know, or the chief of defense staff, they style it now. They talk about all them type of thing. Ben went so far to say, if you're installed in Anna Regina, imagine, well, of course, when Ben said things, you're not surprised. He talked about Anna Regina to the exclusion of anywhere else. So if you were installed in Madja, if you were installed in Letham, if you were Mabruna, apparently that was okay. So he said you're installed in Anna Regina. But I told a friend, more than one friends, that Venezuela and coming to Guyana, Essequibo, to hold no elections in Essequibo. They're not going to do that. They're going to hold an election in Venezuela and claim that that is for. And that is why I took a little objection when I read, even with the release from the U.S., talking about this planned election in Essequibo. And I said that proposition is wrong. It's not in. It's got to be for. I mean, I tell you again, me I no bright by, me I go far in school. But I'm saying that it could not be in meaning that you're in Essequibo and conducting this election. I have always said, right, that you're going to be for. So they held it in Venezuela. And they claim that they then elected a whole set of people to run our Essequibo. That is what they claim, right? They hear what it says. Let me read for y'all. Let me read what the thing says. They said this is Venezuela elected governor and lawmakers for Essequibo and called Essequibo the 24th state. It said Venezuela on Sunday for the first time elected a governor and other lawmakers for Essequibo, an oil-rich region that Venezuela has laid claim to, even though it is widely recognized as being part of Guyana. Essequibo's 125,000 inhabitants, who account for more than 15% of the English-speaking country's population, did not take part in Sunday's election. The vote, which was widely criticized by Guyanese officials, instead saw Venezuelans pick a new governor, 6 deputies to the National Assembly of Venezuela, and 7 to the Regional Legislative Assembly. It is unclear how the officials, once elected, plan to run the territory which Guyana governs. The election is the latest provocation in a long-running territorial dispute between Venezuela and Guyana. It comes more than a year after Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro ordered the creation of a new state within the territory, which is roughly the size of Florida, called Guyana. They call them Guyana Essequibo, following referendum that saw Venezuelan voters approving the move. Guyana had called Venezuela's action a step towards annexation and an existential threat as a specter of armed conflict loomed over the region. Maduro first announced in January that a vote will be held for the region as part of a large election for governors and lawmakers across the country. Quote, I call for freedom of conscience of the people and for the people to elect the best for the governorship of the 24th state, Maduro said on Telegram ahead of Sunday's election, referring to Essequibo as the nation's 24th state. Leaders of Venezuela and Guyana agree to avoid the use of force in land dispute. The vote has put Guyana on high alert, with President Irfan Ali on Saturday calling the poll, quote, scandalous, false, propagandistic, and opportunistic, end of quote. Guyana is home to vast oil reserves, as is on track to become the world's highest per capita oil producer. It, however, has an army estimated to be about 5,000 soldiers and lack the hardware or manpower to face possible Venezuelan aggression. The country, in the meanwhile, has sought closer military cooperation with the United States amid the threats from Venezuela. On Sunday, the United States Department's Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs called the election a sham on X. Quote, the United States reject all attempts by Nicolas Maduro and his illegitimate regime to undermine Guyana's territorial integrity, including the latest sham election in the Essequibo region. It wrote, Venezuela Defense Minister Padrino Lopez pushed back against the criticism on Sunday, saying, we are supported by historical, legal, and moral grounds regarding the territory. The decade-long claim, Venezuela has claimed Essequibo as its own for decades, arguing that it was within its border during the Spanish colonial period. It had dismissed an 1899 ruling by international arbitrators that set the current boundary when Guyana was still a British colony. So, and again, as I said, when the statements here that the Guyana's territory and the United States reject all attempts by Nicolas Maduro and his illegitimate regime to undermine Guyana's territorial integrity, including its latest sham election in the Essequibo. Well, I had objection with that proposition in the Essequibo, as I told y'all, because I always felt it would not be in the Essequibo, it would be for the Essequibo, it would be in Venezuela. And that is what transpired. The elections were held in Venezuela, and so that is what. And, you know, the sad thing, I continue to say, the sad thing has been the response by this government. The sad thing. Yeah, they talk about diplomacy. Diplomacy is good. There has been no attempt to unite the nation in this. Come here, Guyana belongs to we. You got to be patriotic and all this type of thing. How patriotic are some of them when the thief in left, right, and center, which causes people to be in poverty? How patriotic? Patriotism is only standing up to Venezuela? I don't think so. It is wider than that. And I made some point. It was never, as I said, it was never Maduro's intention to set up polling places in the Essequibo. That was almost logistically impossible. But you get Ben and them talking about Anna Regina, installing people in Anna Regina. I further say, it is not their intention to set up nobody in Essequibo itself. They're going to set up the governor and all them in some nearby state in Venezuela and claim that they have jurisdiction and making plans for Venezuela. Because don't forget, remember Maduro had talked about giving them ID card and all sorts of people in Venezuela, and this government will get in reminding people and highlighting those things. Their response on Saturday, they had a big concert at Anna Regina. Then we had cartel come in. That is the government's response to this claim by Venezuela. And not only the claim, all the aggressive actions that they have taken. Venezuela has made it clear that they don't regard the International Court of Justice. They have made it clear. So the point here is that even depending on the international community, depending on the matter that's before the ICJ, but we know you don't have to go to, even if you went to IFLAT University, you ought to know that when the ICJ rule in Guyana's favor, as we expect them to do at some time, Venezuela is going to still not regard that ruling to say Essequibo belongs to Guyana. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? This is incompetence at its highest level, And this is not no ordinary incompetence. This is incompetence where we can lose 2/3 of our territory. And let me be fair. Without Essequibo, Guyana is not Guyana. Without Essequibo, with all the minerals and all the wealth in Essequibo, timber, oil, bauxite, gold, diamond, all of this is in Essequibo primarily. And they sit back there. All they concentrating now is to see how best they can get back into power. Even if it means bringing 100,000 Venezuelans. Robert Passad, maybe shock them too. Because when Ben went to parliament, I think Ben said they have 30-something-thousand Venezuelans in Guyana, something like that. Robert Passad, the minister, where he portfolio for foreign secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, he said recently that there are about 100,000 Venezuelans in Guyana. And according to the information circulating, many of them were issued with identification card. So they changed the law. If you recall, what happens for you to get Guyana identity, All you people got forgot to go to some JP, a justice of the peace. They say, well, yes, his father was a Guyanese. Yeah, I know his father, John Bull, from John Bull Rum Shop. He was a Guyanese. And based on that, a justice of the peace, including the one who was convicted in the United States and sentenced to fraud, and who is now a JP in Guyana, can sign off that this person is a Guyanese, and then you get a birth certificate, you go get ID card so that you can vote. Come on, y'all think about this thing, you know. Think about what is happening. This all they're focusing on. And you're gonna see it more in the next 3 months. Adriana Young, they don't forget about that already. They have forgotten, and we're going to talk about it more. They have forgotten about Adriana Young, that 11-year-old who was murdered on the 23rd of April, or between the 23rd and 24th of April at Doubleday Hotel at Tushan on the east bank of Essequibo. Right? That is what we have going on. And then we say, the question is also asked, how many of those Venezuelans, this 100,000 Venezuelans that Robert Prasad spoke about, how many of those are military assets, Venezuelans military assets that are placed in Guyana to do the wrecking and to do all the planning and all that? How many of those are they don't care? They don't care, right? Then we say, a question that is to be asked here too, you know, it occurred to me. In light of all that Venezuela has been doing, Maduro has been doing, all this saber rattling, the threat to annex Venezuela, Essequibo. Now they had election with the claim now they're going to rule and run Essequibo. Why have we maintained diplomatic relations with this country? I don't know. I'm asking the question. I'm no diplomat. Why is Richard Van West Charles sitting in Caracas or wherever he is? Why? And what is he doing there? These are questions that should be asked. You have a country who's openly aggressive towards you. They're invading, they're bringing war ships, military assets into your territory. People from the shooting up at soldiers along the border, and we still have diplomatic relations with that country. What is the purpose of that? I may ask. The people who are who know diplomacy might be able to come with an explanation. I don't know. I don't have the explanation as to why you would want to maintain diplomatic relations with a country like that. I don't know if it serves any purpose. I don't. Honestly, I don't. But I thought it's something that is to be asked. I hope somebody provide answers. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to deal with this issue. CC, this Venezuelan elections in Swanma, what are your views?
A big joke, you know. Here it is. You have Venezuelans living in Venezuela, voted for Guyanese residing in Essequibo Coast to elect Venezuelans to govern the Guyanese living in Essequibo. A big joke, big proxy, you know. And, you know, as you said, and I agree with you all the time, that they could not have held any elections and a polling places so in Essequibo. No way. I see the journalists they went to Imbaturu and them places there and looking out for Venezuelans, you know, setting up polling places and voting. I don't know, it would never happen. But the government really not dealing it as they ought to. Venezuela don't say that they're not accepting any ruling from the World Court, any ruling from the ICJ. They done said so already. Jump high, jump low. Them thing. And a point to note, we be banking heavily with China and India, and those people who voted against us, and the ICJ voted against us. You know, what we call Dutch axes. And the president ain't doing anything. By now, the president should have gone to president. He should have gone to parliament and addressed the parliamentarians, address the nation, address parliament. But no, and before long election coming up, they're gonna close down parliament. So you know, the president should have gone to parliament and addressed the parliamentarian about the crisis there. He not briefing anybody. They're not briefing. They just jumping left, right, and center. And I say, what is Van West Charles doing in Caracas? What him do there? What's wrong with child doing there, you know? They're taking this thing lightly, and this whole thing they're taking as a big joke. But you know, the claim is there. Venezuela is claim, and we banking on our friends, our supporters from the other countries. I said before, and I'm gonna repeat it. My training is that when you face a situation like the threat against Venezuela, you look at your dime, DIME. Diplomacy should be your first line of defense. Your diplomacy. For us, we must be doing quite diplomacy, but we ain't hearing nothing. We ain't getting no effect from the diplomacy. Your intelligence, what is our intelligence people doing in the intelligence committee? Do we have any intelligence? Nisa, what Nisa doing? You know, do we have intelligence? And then our military, what we military doing? That the chief of defense staff threatening people. Instead, they try to find ways to motivate people. That people will motivate. He threatening people who vote going get arrested and charged with treason and acting like Ben. And then you know we are we looking at our economy or economic activities in the Atlantic and also in the Cayuni, Mazzaroni, Potaro, Rupununi, and them tributaries. There's where we have the gold. We are reading into this paper that Canadian companies sitting on millions of dollars in gold in those regions there, you know. So what are we doing? We making a big joke of this thing, and we taking it too lightly. And it says time for the president to address the nation substantially. The time is running out for the president to go to parliament. He's not a parliamentarian, but he has the authority to call parliament and address the nation, both his party and the opposition, in terms of the Venezuelan crisis and the steps we're taking, the concrete steps we're taking to deal with that situation.
Yeah. I agree. But then you remember, now that they say if it is, 'cause it has not been proclaimed yet, he just announced September the 1st as the day for election. That is just an announcement. Let me understand this, students. It's just an announcement. A proclamation has to be made to dissolve parliament. When that proclamation is made, then and only then we can say that September 1st is the election day. The proclamation will dissolve. Until such time, it's just words, and we know that it's lie. So don't sex it up. Let's wait until a proclamation is made. And when the proclamation is made, then we can say when exactly election will be held. Right? So let me understand this thing clearly. And going back to what Mr. Conway said, he walked about the intelligence. Remember the intelligence people tracking Brutus, you know? The intelligence people, special branch, one of the primary intelligence unit in the country, tracking retired assistant commissioner Brutus, and no less a person than the head of that unit, Prem Narayan, was behind. It's up on tape. You can call the name because it is there on a video. Brutus video recorded it. There was a confrontation, not a violent one, but there was a confrontation when Brutus said tracking him. So that is what they're doing. That is what they're doing. And now that Venezuela has gone ahead in open defiance of the ICJ, let's hear what the international community would say, including CARICOM, including Ralph Gonzalez from St. Vincent, who is the man who said a broker the Argyle card, right? Let's hear what they will now say, because it is clear that our president, and whenever you twist it and turn it, he's Guyana president, and if you're Guyanese, whether we like it or not, he's our president. When was duped into going to Argyle, was duped into going to St. Vincent for that Argyle declaration. And Maduro turned up there with a plane with the map of Venezuela showing Ezequiel was part of Venezuela. And them jokers went to that meeting. There was a matter some years ago, can't remember which exact year. There was a conference of Caribbean commissioners of police, similar to what we had recently in Guyana, right? And I think, if you don't like, it was right in Guyana around 2010, the year I retired. It was held at Pegasus. And there was a mix-up with the flags. We had an arrangement where each country's flag was being flown on a pole, and one of the policemen would march in with the flag, and the commissioner for that country would be behind the flag. And they had a mix-up with one of the flags, buddy. and they call the wrong name and the man walk in. The commissioner refused to walk behind the flag. He said it's not a country flag, even though the name was called Nago. Then I remember Skip Roberts, God rest the dead, telling us of a story we had missed. He went to some function somewhere, I think Venezuela or somewhere, and they spelled the name Montserrat incorrectly. They spelled Montserrat, Monstrat. That was a big diplomatic thing there. They spelled the country wrong, Montserrat. They spell it. So these things are important. Look, let me tell you, look. When we talk about all we say, I understand that the National Security Advisor, Gerald Govaya, I think is the correct name. Everybody knows Jerry Govaya. Been in everything. Private sector, they in all sort of things. The man like salt. The man like pot salt, he did everything. So I understand from reliable sources that he has undertaken an inspection of all the police locations and the police divisions. Jerry Govaya, along with Tribal Union. You know who is Tribal Union? The man who they named the toilet at Lenora after. He's a deputy commissioner now, doing own work. Along with Tribal Union, Derek Govaya is going to all the police stations to inspect. Well, body things have really changed. I know immediately, no national security advisor and coming to inspect in that manner. Police stand up to attention and they got turn out parade for national security advisor. What nonsense is that? He can come, he can talk to the people and so on, and yes, but he might get a formal inspection which requires the ranks to turn out and even see the message, what the ranks are required to do. I remember too, at the wrong line, I remember back in the days, even the talk about Burnham and being dictatorship and so on, Stanley Moore was the Minister of Home Affairs. Them days we had beat duty centers. One was on Water Street, somewhere by Wheaton and Richter side, right? That was on the eastern part of Water Street. There. He went there to check and wanted to check the arms. And the officer that tell you, no, sir, you're not allowed to check the arms and so on. You can't come into my arms room and say checking arms. But now what you're happening, them people do anything. They give you all sorts of instructions and all sorts of things. Jerry Govaya checking, and I understand he went to Region 1. And look the thing. I think this is in Batiro Police Station. Look the flagpole, buddy. This is a police station in Guyana that is closest to Venezuela. You got an outpost right up the road, you look up the road. They got a tree, what we used to call, whatever we call is a thing they cut and they fly the flag on it. The other one is the Guyana flag too. That is what you have. That is the standard that they are projecting to our enemy across the place there. And if you think that's bad, look at this one. If you think that's bad, look. This is the commander of Region 1, Krishnadat Ramana, yesterday giving an interview, right? The video is there, you can go see. Look how the commander dressed yesterday, the day when they were to have an election to elect a governor for the territory that part of the territory that he in charge of. Look at the officer's dress. Look at the dress. Look. Gun in the right side pocket. Look. I want you to look and see. This is the police commander. You will see the tape. He will identify himself as Senior Superintendent Krishnadat Ramana, the commander of Region 1. The commander of Region 1. He's giving an interview, and I'm not sure which is the outlet that he's giving the interview to. But that is the man dressed. Oh, no wonder when you talk about falling standard in the police force. No wonder you talk about falling standard. Look at the dress of the commander. What example is he setting? A gun in the pocket. Look, his right side pocket. He has what appears to be a Glock pistol in his right side pocket. And you want to be surprised why things are so bad in the police force? He is a commander. He is a police commander. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. See, I want you to comment on this commander, man. It's just, before you go, I had commented on it before because he went to court to give evidence in the matter. And I made the point that is the tightest pants I ever see a policeman wear. He sees was he been in trouble, if at all he has seeds, right? The pants was so tight. The man thing in there, right? Let me hear your view, my brother.
Well, somebody says Bush, is Bushy there, but he's a commander. And what's the commander? In civilian clothes. a pistol hanging out from my pocket. He get on a top, and it's ridiculous. And he's giving an interview. I heard the interview where he's saying he's a commander of Region 1 and talking he been there since last year. And look at his condition. He look like a renegade. He look like a renegade. I can't find words to describe in Paul. This is ridiculous. This is lawlessness to the highest extent. Total lawless. And if he's gonna behave so, what about the ranks on this command? What about the deputy? What about those young constable? Yeah, the man look like a drug pusher. He look like a man who dealing with cocaine. I ain't say dealing with cocaine, but he look like a cocaine man there, Paul. And I've been in the Northwest. I know Northwest well, buddy. I know Northwest well. I've been at Imbaturu. I was in charge of Imbaturu police station. I was in charge of Morawana police station. At the station at Maburumo. I got to Port Kaichumo. I got to Matthews Ridge. I got to Morocco and all them places there. But getting back to the National Security Advisor, jumping about the place, and then he being escorted by a deputy commissioner of police. The deputy commissioner should hold his own inspection on his own. Standing order number 16 talks about holding notified inspection. And if Watts is in charge of divisions, he must go and inspect. And he mustn't go with Jerry Govaya. I can't understand what's going on. Watts has got to go and inspect station, and at least once every 6 months. The standing order talks about the commissioner holding notified inspection once a year. The divisional commandos twice a year, and the subordinate officer once every 3 months. Is in standing order number 16 where they hold notified inspection. The last commissioner to hold a notified inspection was Henry Green. Nothing from Bramel, nothing from Sila Prasad, nothing from James, nothing from Happy, who was performing the duties of a commissioner, and nothing from the present extended squatter. Here's it. We have Venezuelan crisis, and I haven't heard a single word that the commissioner or none of his deputies has gone to Imbatiro, has gone to Kaikan, has gone to Iterengbang, and those are stations right on the border. There are some a little far away, like Iarakito and those places, like Purimo and other places, and they have not gone there and talked to the men. Now is a time where they should focus, where they should ask for what we call a financial stimulus package. Give them proper money for separation allowance, for duty allowance, for risk allowance, for station allowance. Those allowances what they get in their pittance, their small amount, and their since the 80s. Give them the thing so that they can be motivated. And even if they're injured, you should have a compensation package for them. And God forbid if any one of them die, there's still a $1 million package that should be increased. The $1 million was since in Larry Lewis' time. So I'm saying, what Jerry Govaya going and do there? What should be there on his own? The extended squad should be there on their own. The commander should be there on their own. All of them must go to the border locations and talk to the people, talk to the ranks, talk to the residents in the area, reassure them. But no. And then watch the commander gain an interview and watch he just like a orangutan, yeah, just like a drug man, just like a cocaine smuggler. And remember when they had the cocaine smuggling in Region 1? They said that the commander there was fingered. I know nothing more. This was fingered. You know how much tons of cocaine there? Now Romano gone there. And we know Romano. We know he's the man who they arrest a woman because she tells her client, unless a liar, we know magistrate, because she told her client to remain silent. And this year, Romano, Region 1, it was, I think Pork Knuckles was just better than him. Pork Knuckles just better than him. Watch him To me, he looks like a drug smuggler, and I know about drug smugglers. I know them, and I know about Venezuelan good. I walk in them area, I know them thing. But watch he disgraceful.
Disgraceful, he said, disgraceful. You know this thing where you said the commander, the previous commander, they said it was fingered in the drug smuggling. They was fingered. Perhaps it's Dharam Lal finger, you know. Perhaps Dharam Lal finger you, which takes on a whole different connotation. He was a finger for truth. But when we talk about Venezuela, laying claim to Essequibo, and the one man, Jack Dio, right? Who said Venezuela belongs to, Essequibo belongs to Jack Dio. The charge with inciting treason, put him on bail. Remember, we talked about it last week, Randy Jack Dio. Here is the next Jack Dio. Here this one.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area. You could.
Let me play the back.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area. You could.
That is what one Jack Dio claiming on social media that Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. The charge for inciting treason. You got another Jack Dio long before he saying that you could make a slight concession to Venezuela on the maritime area. How that is not treason? Y'all tell me. I little stupidity. Y'all tell me how that. Because you know Jack Dio say a lot of stupid people in Guyana. Right? Jack Dio said recently they got a lot of stupid people in Guyana. Well, you know, y'all gonna get a chance very soon to see if you are really stupid for truth, you know. Remember, election date is supposed to, I'm using it in language carefully, supposed to be September the 4th. And you're going to get an opportunity for let us know if Jack Dio right when he say y'all stupid. You're going to get the opportunity. Which brings me to the next, well, before you go, let me talk about these elections here. Elections. You're going to get an opportunity for sure if you're really stupid or not. Right? Now, the elections are being called. We got to, according to the Constitution, let me understand. This government came into office on the 2nd of August 2020, right? So the 2nd of August 2025, they would have completed 5 years. The Constitution says a term is 5, right? So you can argue that it is overdue. I don't know if they got grace period and all of that. I don't know. I'm no constitutional expert. So you know that elections got to be called. People talking about biometric. You hear nothing? Elections are being called. We don't know if they get any biometric. Right? You hear about the voters list? The bloated voters list. The most recent thing they said Guyana got 800,000 people. 800,000. I understand the voters is just 740 something, 750,000 people. That is a recipe for disaster. And we saw what happened in 2020. Despite all what they say about who thief the election, who thief, and the charge people, the people who really did this skullduggery have not been charged. We had a situation where it was revealed during the recount, all them boxes without statutory document and all the rascality that went on. Them and commit no crime, them and charge. And it was, you think it was a coincidence that the boxes without statutory documents were all in areas where PPP won? No, that was no coincidence. That was the rigging long before. Somebody talk about rigging. We have come to realize that rigging is not done on election day. Remember at Monrepo on election day in 2020? You all remember the God rest the dead, what's your name? Ali, who died recently, right? Anil, your name Carlin. Anil, I'm not Ali. Anil, your name Carlin. She stood there with Basil Williams at Monrepose. I remember that well because I was in the area at the time. Anil, your name Carlin. And they just get the temerity for what you and tell you about rigging. That people vote the last time. And when the government asks the immigration people to confirm that certain people were out of the country, and they confirm they're victimizing those people on today, like today, the immigration officers who truly reported on what the records of the immigration office showed, that many of the persons who they claim voted were not in the country at the time. That's what the record reflects. Ray, who was the chief immigration officer, punishment, can't get no promotion. He retired recently. I wish you well, my brother. Others, the right to say, Brutus and Ben, right to say they must charge with people with smuggling, human trafficking, and I get the record. I get the record, and they get the temerity to tell people what rigging. So, folks, let me tell you something. You see this election coming up in the next 3 months. You're gonna hear that sort of thing. And rigging, according to them, that's always revealed. Rigging does not take place on election day. There was rigging long before. So you get Venezuelans coming in, they don't get board certificate, they get ID card. And when is this cricket carnival? Have you checked to see when is cricket carnival? My last thing is that cricket carnival is supposed to be around the same time. So you believe the date for election is a coincidence? No. People gonna come in they're bringing them in by the thousands for cricket carnival. And they'll make sure they get ID card for vote. They're going to make sure they name them on the voters list. Come, you got to think this thing through, You got to think it through. I've been in the system for 37 years. A long period of that time, I was in the senior position, so I understand what's going on. I can predict. The crystal ball can show me certain things, right? So I am saying to all of you, look, Vibes Cartel. Look who that Vibes Cartel. That is a problem we have. That is a problem. I posted something this morning on social media. Let me see if I can pull it up to read what I posted, y'all. It's a short thing by Malcolm X. Malcolm X. He done my social media page. He said, we are not outnumbered. We are out-organized. That is by Malcolm X. You hear this what he said? We are not outnumbered. We are out-organized. So let me see what's going to happen with the how organized we are going to be. Let's see how organized we're going to be. All type of distractions they will bring, They will bring all kinds of distraction. The moderation concert and the one at Essequibo, that is just the beginning. Watch and see what's going to happen. All other people going to come. I understand that the moderation concert, certain statements were made that they might not have been pleased with, because the leading artists, all of them came out to call for justice for Adriana Young. The leading artists, Vibes Cartel and whoever, calling for justice for Adriana Young. Well, they want to hear that. They want Adriana Young's story done. They want that. They no biometric. And you can expect all the mudslinging to intensify. You can already see it in one of the most virulent propaganda space. You get Carl Guyana Daily News. You get NCN. You get Newsroom. They're going to come out. I see one now named Sheriff something. They're going to come out, friend. Folks, students, they're going to come out. They're gonna came in out. You got to be careful. Come to speaking out, and we're going to analyze these things, and we're going to tell you what's going on. We can listen to the statements. They will make lots of statements. All the promises. Go back and see the promises that were made to the run-up to 2020 election and ask yourself how many of those have been fulfilled. Ask how much 50% increase of public servants and all them things you were to get. Check and see what is up. Now come with more promises. You get a one-off, you get the 100,000 cash grant. More likely to come, my brother, my brothers and sisters. And I say, take it. It's we money, it's not them own. Guide that thief in 100 million and give you 100,000. I guess you got to accept and bless. But not for long, because the time will come when you can make a change. That time is soon, rapidly approaching, when you can make a change, right? Let me move. Let me ask Mr. Khan if you want to say anything on that, and then we're gonna move on to the next subject. CC, let me hear you.
Yeah, election. And the thing is, the voters list. More people to vote than living in the country. And unless they have a clean voters list, there will be issues, serious issues. I mean, biometric is one, but a clean voters list. And we can't forget the foreign secretary said over 100,000 Venos here. Ben said 35,000 registered. And right now, you think they make Alim Khan JP for thing? A whole lot of Venezuelans there in region 2 and region 3. And all they got to go to Alim Khan and say, hey, that convicted criminal man who was convicted and served time in the United States for fraud, all they got to go to you and say, hey, my father was a Venezuelan or my mother was a Guyanese or her father was a Guyanese. And they would get ID card. They put posters for ID card. Remember the last election? People win. They said they win by 14,000 votes. Now you have 100,000 Venezuelans. Ben said 35 registered. And easy to get an ID card. And easy to get a card to go on the voters list. Those in West Dam and those at Scribble Coast, go to Alim Khan and swear, and you easily get ID card. So all is part of the election fraud that would be committed. So we got to look. So I'm saying, okay, if you want to hold election, have a clean voters list. That's all I got to say for the time.
And for students to comment today, like how they were given on cocoa on the thing, they weren't given on cocoa. According to the BOP, the border runs through Ancoco. So part of Ancoco belongs to Venezuela. That's how I understand it. And then the other part belongs to Guyana, but they have encroached into Guyana's part. But you got a troll coming. Let me get you the E quickly. I'll be with me. Let me get you the E. Wrong place, troll. Wrong place. This is not the place for you. Get your own program if you want to use expletives and so on. You name some Zahid Wahid or something. Huh? Maybe it's a false profile. But out you go. We don't hold on, let me deal with you and make sure we get you the E. Let me make sure I get you the Zahid Wahid, if that is his name. Right, let me continue. Now, as we said, we get elections coming up soon, whether it's 1st of September or not. Elections got to come up soon. My understanding is that what got to happen, Parliament got to be dissolved, the proclamation made, dissolve Parliament. Once that is done, then the date, well, in that process, I think the date will be set, and then you're going to have nomination day, where the competing parties will indicate the candidate and all them. So you're going to hear all of this now. Who's going to collate who running on himself, all of that you're going to hear. You're going to see the list with all sort of people, 00 not, all them names they're going to include anything. We're going to see we in for a ride. So buckle up and watch the ride. But let me say this. I'm on several groups on social media. Some I never commented on, but just thing and so on. But I have said repeatedly to friends and others that if they were to put the same energy that they put into criticizing this body and criticizing this body, if they were to put that channeled energy towards getting rid of this kleptocratic government, we're going to be in a better place. We are going to be in a better place. And I say this to say, I saw what I consider one of the most disgraceful things yesterday. And I'm referring to the public fight at the Square of the Revolution. My understanding is that some of these social media people, they've abused out 2 women, Guyanese, black women, abusing out on the thing. And one may have traveled from the New York to go to Vibes Cartel show, and the abusing out continued. And one, I understand, somebody got pelt stone at someone, called them out to fight and all them type of thing. And the fight was organized, it is alleged, by one Dagi. At the Square of the Revolution yesterday, advertised on social media for this fight. And my God, when you see the number of people who turn up, if you see people who turn up, you see 2 women fight. And then, not only that, they actually fought. And if you see the response by the police, look, we're in a bad place with this police force, you know. I'm going to show you all the tape just now. We are in a bad place. A large crowd of people gathered. I see one man had an infant in his hands, torn up to see two women fight at the Square of the Revolution yesterday. And I asked myself, are these the people who fought, are they mothers? Do they have sisters, brothers? Two women. I remember back in the day, I was a little boy in the country, just come to town. I came to town around 74. You had some, used to get fight. Man organized people like Maxie Sargent, Poned, Robert Nixon called Poned. There was big time fighters in the town. Organized fist fight and thing. But I thought those days are over. Those days are over. So now we get women coming out to fight. And let me show you the tape, what I'm talking about. Y'all sit back and watch. Sit back. Let me cue it up here. And then we're going to talk about it at the end. Look at this is the first one here. Look.
Wrong one! You want to put the people up there, right? Wrong one! Wrong one! That is it. That is it! Fuck them. That is it. What is the best thing? Hey! What's up? No, they go forward again. There's my tongue over from Kenzie. They're fighting. Bomb up. That's a fuck your wing. Where are you, brother?
Folks, but you know, I'm tempted to say unbelievable, but you can't use those words to describe what you see there. First of all, this large crowd Sunday afternoon gathered to see two women fight. And look at them. I can say it, black people. Black people. As I said, one man had an infant. I saw that in his hands. Fight. Then the police come. And look at the action of the police, buddy. Police come and shooting indiscriminately. Pow, pow, but 4 or 5 seemed like a shotgun he had. 4 or 5. And I understand as a result of that, let me show you, I understand as a result of that, somebody, they said a man was injured. This is it here, look. That's what we have, you know. First of all, those people coming to watch a public fight, to see two women fight. And I understand that it was advertised. It's not something that was spontaneous. It was advertised on social media. If I see anything wrong on social media, they get Ethnic Terrorism Commission, they get a cybercrime unit, jump down on your neck right away. You want to tell me that the police did not know of this thing and therefore were in a position to take proactive action? Because public fights are against the law. I think it's 138 of the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act. I'll get it somewhere. Section 138 of the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, Chapter 17, chapter, what it says 17, Chapter 802. Chapter 802. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I'll read it for them. So in case they want to know if an offense was committed or the like, bear with me 1 minute. Hear what it says. Hear what section 138, I got it right. Section 138 of the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, Chapter 802 says, everyone who, or in any view of any public way or public place opens, carries without lawful excuse any deadly. No, I'm reading the wrong section. Section 139 it is. Everyone who unlawfully fights with anyone else in or in the view or in the airing of any public way or public place shall be liable to a fine of not less than $7,500 nor more than $15,000 or imprisonment for 4 months in addition to any other punishment which he may be liable to. So the people advertise to commit a offense, a crime, summary offense. Police then know, then monitoring they know. The people turn up to the fight and they allow this fight to take part. And then at the end now, to make sure this big crowd, I wouldn't say unruly, because they're a curious crowd, I would call them. Because they weren't throwing missiles, they weren't lighting fire, they weren't involved in inciting terrorism, as they want to see. They turn up to see two women fight. But first of all, I don't know what's going through people's mind to say they want to go and see two women fight at the Square Day Revolution. But that is their choice. That is their choice. And then the police now, in order to control or to dispose it, and you want to tell me that this is a police force that should continue with its present leadership and its present form? You want to honestly tell me that this police force, we are shooting in Linden, 2 men dead. We had the incident at Doubleday, no proper police action. We had the incident outside of the public hospital on the 28th when the postmortem was done and all the confusion that ensued across the country. And you want to tell me now these people and get no understanding, no training, that you can't just go and shoot just like that? We are in a bad place. Let me understand it. You can't sugarcoat it. We can't sugarcoat. This is a lawless police force because the leadership is lawless. I won't talk about leadership. I'm talking about the most senior leadership. Iken, who's the commissioner. Ben, who is the minister. Perhaps even the president who put Iken there. That is what you have. Man just walk into this crowd and licking shots, pelting corn. And don't tell me shooting in the ground. That even makes it even worse. Because when those pellets, let me assume that he's shooting shotgun pellets. When those things hit the ground, they can disintegrate, and everybody who get the area can get touched up. All people in the area are going to be touched up. So we are in a sad place. Let me give Mr. Conway. Maybe he can explain what we just saw there. People gathering to see two men fight, and the action taken by the police look like to dispose these people. See, let me hear you, man.
It is amazing that a large crowd was torn up to see two women fight. And they publicized it too. And don't tell me the police was not aware of what was likely to take place. And then we look at it, because they responded. And then how a policeman is going to go there with a shotgun? Why issue him with a shotgun? Shotgun but then shotgun is a weapon of choice, gun of choice, because the president said 250 to them Amerindians so they can defend the state of Guyana, and 250, so they can defend the state of Guyana against Venezuela. But then here's it. Police shooting indiscriminately. When you may fire Force Order number 33 of 69 that was republished many times, and I was talking about it, that is a drill it in your head. That when you go and you uplift a weapon, You have to write it in your pocketbook, but I nobody get pocketbook anymore. For us Brutus, didn't buy no pocketbook for them. But you write it in your pocketbook and you read it, and the SO will make an entry in the diary for Sada number 4 of 74, on 69, read and explain to the constable or the rank, and he said he explained the nature of the document. And let me read it. 1. When you're attacked and you apprehend serious danger to your person and unable to defend yourself by any other means. 2. When property you are ordered to defend is attacked and you are unable to safeguard it by any other means. 3. When attack is made to rescue persons in lawful custody. Next, when anyone is found committing or about to commit a felony, burglary, shop breaking, store breaking, house breaking, arson, or larceny, and do not desist after warning and cannot be deterred or arrested by any means, to prevent a police station or police outpost from being overrun, and when so ordered by a superior in rank. Here's it. This rank shooting indiscriminately. Apart from the one man, I saw a video where a woman gets shot in her face, pelleted in her face. Yeah, imagine that shooting indiscriminately, and another one shot. I heard six, and then nothing would happen to him. He go back easily to the station. Sometimes he go back to the station and lodge the same amount of wrongs that he uplifted, and nothing happened, So I don't know what's going on. Please, police, please remember when you may fire embedded in the minds of the ranks them. Go over back when you may fire. Too many shooting that are deadly. We had 2 at Linden, and 1 up to now we can't hear anything about it. Where they're bringing Ross and the crime chief said that the CID didn't pay any part of that investigation. Imagine the crime chief, a report of a person get killed, shot by the police, murder, and the police didn't pay any part of that investigation, crime chief, because that investigation will call some amount of ballistics, because a gun was used and they gotta check the gun, and the ballistics people come on the CID. So apparently they had no ballistic checks. None whatsoever. If the crime chief said that the CID wasn't involved, and up to now we can't get any report. And further to that, dealing with the same one and others, person die in the hands of the police. And what happened to the police complaints authority? The law says that the police complaints authority must investigate, must supervise the investigations. We need an award from the police complaint authority. Do we have a police complaint authority? Is it functioning? Normally the police complaint authority is being contract. Is the contract expired? Is the police complaint authority on vacation? Is the police complaint authority on sick leave or some vacation or some kind of thing there? What is going on? No police complaint authority. We ain't hearing anything but it, and we getting deadly shooting. But coming back to the one of the square of revolution, disgraceful that youngster just shooting out. I count 6 rounds that they use, and why you going there with a shotgun? Who is you with a shotgun? All of them should get trouble if you do a proper investigation.
All of them should get trouble. Well, you give them due process. You know, they like Fernando Sancho. Give them a fair trial and hang them in the morning. The due process should prevail. Folks, let me again continue to share. We have the Adriana Young matter to go into now. A lot of people find a lot of interest in that. We have to keep it on the front burner. There are a lot of distractions. We have to talk about elections. We have to talk about Venezuela story. We have to talk about all those things. What we saw there yesterday, a discredited revolution. Some people said discredited revulsion. But we have to talk about those things, but we have to also talk about Adriana Young's matter. Right? Adriana Young. That child who was murdered between the 23rd and the 24th of April last month at the Doubleday Hotel. She went there with her grandmother to swim. And again, as I said, no matter what they want to tell us, it was a murder. Now, we learned that they brought in this Canadian retired sergeant. They said, oh, this man had so much investigation on the belt. And if you hear fancy thing what they're saying, when the man came, the man had a meeting with the relatives of the deceased girl and the lawyer, attorney at law, Dr. Dexter Todd, who is representing the interests of that family. And Dexter questioned him about his qualifications. And it is clear that despite all what they big up and not build him up to be, the man lacked the qualification to conduct such an investigation. Nonetheless, Attorney General, SC, MP, told Caribbean Tea, when they asked him how they came on this man, Leonard McCushion, I think his name, he said he danced. He go into some salawala, we call it in the country. He, like Jack Joe, get a little brain freeze. And then he said some regional body recommended this man to them because he did work for the regional body. Yeah, but you just pick up these things, you know. So the first question, and then, you know, Dennis and them didn't follow up on that. Which regional body you're talking about? He wanted to give the impression, he wanted you to draw the conclusion that it's Ross who recommended the man to them. That is what he tried to convey. At least that is what I interpreted to mean. My information is not a thing like that. You know, he does do me investigation. What regional body? And then he said that the man did other investigations in the region. What investigations? Those are natural follow-up questions. What? Name one. Like Salawa a little more. Like name one. Can't name none because the man never did any investigation in the Caribbean as he was trying to say. I did my investigation. And my information from a reliable source says it's a certain man who has an office or a security company. The local office is in somewhere in Prashad Nagar. The man lives in Canada. And he is the man who recommended this Leonard McCushion to them. Need not to say that this man is a strong PPP supporter. The man who made the recommendation to them. I get the name and everything. He made the recommendation about this Leonard McCushion. Mark came. The lawyer, when I did my own research and so on, a judge in Canada dealing with a matter with the same Leonard McCushion remarked that he was a desk police with little field experience. That's a judge remark. That Leonard McCushion, this man would have built up as this big-time investigator. The judge said that he is a desk police with little field experience. And they bring him to do the investigation. Right? They want FBI. They don't want no credible source. They bring this one man, and then the president tell you, well, he had committed to doing well, and that is all he did, all that he promised to. Lie. Never did that. Never fulfill his promise to basically to leave no stone unturned. Never did that. I understand, right, that the man beat out this Leonard McCushion. And again, we mentioned it before. We want them to come out and tell people what is the position with this investigation. Because my understanding is that the man was paid $50,000 US dollars, put up at the Marriott. Once you pay $50,000, they put you up at the Marriott. I have a suspicion that it's all expense paid. If he had to go anywhere, I'm sure they would have sent police car to take him wherever he wanted to take him and so on. $50,000. And apart from that interaction with the family and the lawyer, we ain't hearing nothing more where this man has started his work. The man made a statement where I said, disqualified him. And that told me that this man has no proper experience. Because when he told them, right, he said, let me read what it is reported that he said, right? McCushion clarified that he was hired by the government of Guyana and not the Guyana Police Force to assist with the investigations. He noted that he had received copies of all relevant documents, pictures, and videos related to the incident from the police, which he would thoroughly review during the conduct of the interviews, during the conduct, let me read about, which he would thoroughly review before conducting any interviews or decide which individuals would be interviewed. Ama come, you not conduct no interview yet. Turn to him. You never statement from the father or the mother or the grandmother who and the, but he can tell us that all relevant documents he received, all relevant documents he received, pictures, all. Oh, you know, those are all the relevant documents if you ain't even start an investigation. So he said that statement alone, to me, disqualifies him. Disqualified. Well, where is he? Where is Leonard McCushion? What has he done so far? 2 weeks. I think today is the second week. And counting. Rumor has it that the man beat out. Rumor has it the man had a meeting with a certain senior police officer and it didn't go too well. And the man gone. That is a come out, man, corporate propaganda unit. Well, we can't expect Ben, Shoot and Scoot Ben to say anything. I don't expect Aiken has recovered from the laryngitis he's suffering from. Branham had a bout where he was able to come out and make some statement, as Conway, my colleague, pointed out a while ago. I didn't expect now that Ali, the president, who turned pathologist and gave us the preliminary findings, none of them are going to come out and tell us where is Leonard McCushion. And again, I got to cuss out my friends them in the media. None of them can go and inquire. And this is not a big investigation to conduct to find out where this man is and where the man gone. The man is staying at the Marriott. Wait, y'all ain't got no contact at the Marriott to find out the man is still there? How y'all doing this thing, man? Oh, you must get some source somewhere to tell you whether this man is still in going or not. When he got to the airport, police vehicle would carry the weight. You know, get them. Some of the most inquisitive people that's find at the airport there, drivers and people's thing there, they're gonna know if this man gone out. They're gonna know. They know when what she name they come in and they turn up there in full force. You want to tell me nobody know whether Leonard McCushion is still in Guyana in pursuit of this investigation or not? We are in a sad place. The next question I want to ask before I bring in Mr. Conway. Where is the owner of Doubleday, who the police told us was put on bail with requiring conditions that he had to report to police station, they didn't say which police station, every day? Where is this person? Has he been satisfying his reporting conditions, the conditions of bail that he has to report every day? Has the conditions been modified? I tell you, we're going to ask the questions, you know. I'm going to ask the questions. Because they might very well tell you, oh, you don't report any day any longer because we modify the conditions to say you must come now once a week or you mustn't come at all. All that you're going to hear. All. So questions for the people. Where is Mr. McCushion? Where is, at what stage is this investigation now? In terms of the investigation too, Lion Mark Phillips said that they're going to have a COI to investigate the police. Is that so? Because he was giving the impression that the murder investigation is one investigation. They're going to investigate how this child mysteriously turned up. But then he also said, and the president said so too, they're going to investigate every action of the police. That's what the president said. What has happened to that? It's two investigations we're talking about. What has happened to those investigations? Mr. Conway, come in and let me hear you, man. Let me hear you, Mr. Conway.
First thing I like you, I wonder, all right, I believe the man don't beat out, you know, because first thing, they teach you the butterfly, so you get wings and you flew away. And then sometimes you're behaving like them, you know, Paul. You're talking about the attorney general, you know, the man who generalizing things instead of specializing. But you're left out something, you know. You're talking about SC, MP. Isn't there a vowel left out there? Anyway, the investigation of this girl that they murder, you know, I understand people who started the cover up, They are integral part of this investigation. We ain't hearing about the crime chief. The president said he tell the commissioner to form a team, and he know the team. What was the team that they form? Who is leading this investigation? Yeah? It's a case of murder, jump high, jump low of 11-year-old girl. And we must left no stone unturned, talking like the president, using his words to ensure that justice is done. Who is investigating? Who is the lead investigator? Why the crime chief is silent? And they're talking about transparency. Yeah? They're talking about transparency. Word in the ground that the man beat out. He gone away. You know? And you know how much money did the thing become, remember? Bernard Carrick was 8 million. I want to believe this man get far more than what they give Bernard Carrick. I want to believe so. You know, and the whole thing is cover up and cover up and cover up. And you're asking where the owner there? Is he reporting? Is a wall of silence all around? There's no transparency and like there's no accountability. Who leading the investigation? Give us a little update. You mightn't give us certain sensitive things, but let the public know exactly what is going on. It's not gonna die away. It will not die away. I'm happy if it's true. I hear that at the big concert they had at the stadium, they asked for justice for Adriana. I'm happy about that, and we must continue to call for justice. And there must be proper investigation. The local people don't corrupt already, and if the foreign, if the sergeant gone away, well then it's high time. Get the FBI, get Scotland Yard. We want no retired sergeant from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. We want a top ranking person to investigate. But no, where's it there to hide? Where's there to hide? We make mistakes in life. And if they make mistakes, they must be able to correct it. And there must be man enough for women to say, yes, we made mistakes, but this is what we're doing to correct the situation. But apparently, like the investigation, as they're pushing it on under the carpet, the unsolved crime carpet. But we got to make sure that we keep it on. We got to make sure that we keep it on the front border. That is a murder, and I always got to read this to them. We're dealing with the homicide investigator. Let me read: no greater honor will ever be bestowed on an officer or a more profound duty on him than when he is entrusted with the investigation of the death of a human being. Within Adriana, the death of a human being, 11-year-old. It is his duty to find the facts, regardless of color or creed, without prejudice, and let no power on earth deter him from presenting the facts to the court without regards to personality. That is what must be instilled into the minds of all the persons who are investigating death, all the death investigator, whether it's by accident, whether it's by suicide, whether it is determined, whether it's undetermined, that as long as you're investigating the death of a human being, you got to treat it seriously. You got to treat it seriously and let no power on earth deter you from presenting the facts to the court without regards to personality.
Yes, my brother. But you said something. Let me read what the president is reported to have said when this incident occurred. I have asked the Commissioner of Police to assemble a special team to lead the investigation into all the circumstances surrounding 11-year-old Adriana Young. We must uncover the full truth and everything that transpired, and no resource or effort will be spared in doing so. Whatever specialized resources are required to determine every aspect of the events and circumstances will be provided. Additionally, I have asked that the police explain in detail every action taken since the matter was reported. And you're hearing nothing any longer. But see, let me tell you, when you say you want to know this team, he has asked the commissioner to assemble a special team. Well, it's not a TEAM, it's a THEME. It's not a team, it's a theme. And the theme is cover up. The theme. I got to put my tongue. My teacher used to teach you, put your tongue between your teeth so you could pronounce it properly. The theme, THEME, is cover up. And we ain't going to remember the TEAM, but that is what we have. That is what we have. And here, let me tell you all this, in case you all forget. As I said, election coming up. And remember what J.H.K. Lal said. J.H.K. Lal said, what we have today is not a government, but a gang of gangsters. For the most part, what Guyanese have for leaders today are nothing but out-of-control lunatics, pathological liars, unreconstructed racists, and political sadists. That is what he said. And let me give you all your therapy. Then I'm going to call Mr. Conway to give his closing, and then we're going to talk about the way forward. I can't deny you. I've been denying y'all. I've been denying you guys your therapy for long. So let me queue up. As a matter of fact, let me bring in Mr. Conway, and while he's giving the closing, I'm going to queue up the therapy. CC, you're closing, my brother.
All right. I got to give me a financial statement. Interdiction ranks. I'll talk more on it maybe on the next episode, but I want to put them on notice. There's a rank who was interdicted for 13 years. He won his case, came back in the force. I think he's at TSU right now. And they made out his, the money that they due for. And what they did, they paid him his basic salary. We think no, every year you have increase the salary, you get back pay and all that kind of thing. They ain't paying them kind of money. They told him that, hey, this money too much. And we got an answer to the Ministry of Home Affairs, and we got an answer to the Ministry of Finance, so we can pay you the basic thing. So they have denied him. And they got another one who 12 years in the work, won his case, and over a year now, and he cannot be reinstated. He wants to join back the force. He cannot be reinstated because they said they can't find his file. 1 year now, they're searching for the file, and they can't find the file. And the other one, interdicted, won his case, back on the work after 13 years, and they just pay him his basic salary, nothing else. They say they got to answer to the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Finance how we can get so much money. And I talk more about interdicted ranks at the next episode.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. A rank complained to me too, said East Station Division, diligent man, working hard, and being victimized, no promotion. And in the same division, he said there's a rank there with just about a year or so service. He's a relative to somebody over there at the top there. The man don't get 2 stripe full corporal. You want to know if it's fair? No, it's not fair. I told him it's not fair, but that is the system. And again, I'm saying the time is rapidly approaching when each and every one of us can have a say whether we want this to continue or whether we want to change course. We have got to decide on it. We have got to decide. I have posted something on the social media, the same page for the students who follow the page on social media, called kleptocracy, a form of government. I'm going to post later what is democracy. But I posted that one this morning. And we're going to read, when we come to the next episode, we're going to analyze that. What is a kleptocratic government? And you're going to see how well that definition fits, or if at all, with what we have today. And when we talk about democracy, same thing. You're going to see how it fits because I have it printed out. I'm going to post it. So I'm encouraging you to go on the page, either my personal page if you have access to that, or speaking out. You will see kleptocratic or kleptocracy. It is there. And it fits, my view, fits directly into what we have as a government now. Not only what BHK Lal said, but it fits in. And let me give you a little snippet of what it says. The definition, I'm not going to the full details. Kleptocracy derived from the ancient Greek word meaning thief and rule, refers to a form of government where leaders use the political power to enrich themselves at the expense of the public. This often involves stealing public funds and resources, bribing officials, and using international connections to launder the stolen wealth. Let's just part. Go and read it for yourself. And for your therapy, here we go. Here we go.
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
So, so my relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims.
And just for your holiday today, you're getting a second dose of a thing.
You who are out there, if they come, we gotta shoot and scoot. And shoot good and scoot. And keep shooting and scooting until help arrives.
No one could never get old, my friends. No one could. Folks, we have come to the end. Again, for those of you, the numbers are there. Those of you who are in a position to make a little donation to the upkeep of this program, please do so. We appreciate your efforts. And for those people who have been making contributions, thank you very much. Your contributions go a long way towards making sure that we can do what we have to do, and to bring you the credible and the valuable information. Today's holiday, I hope you enjoy, whether you're in the US. You know, they said today, Memorial Day, as I say, not something to say happy Memorial Day to celebrate. It's an you got to observe people who gave their life for freedom or for whatever. It's an observation. So it'll be a solemn observation, right? Barbecue. This is supposed to be the unofficial start of the summer, but I can tell you from reports, it's cold as hell out there. So they get a start of summer yet. Summer postponed for now, or delayed. Shouldn't say postponed. It is delayed, right? So enjoy your independence. And I want you to reflect, in Guyana, Guyanese reflect what independence means, and given what is going on here now, right? What you can do, because it's in each and every one of us as the individual power to make a difference. If you like what's going on, you like what's going on. But if it is that you feel that we are going in the wrong direction, 59 years down the road, then you have a responsibility, I should say, to make sure you can make a difference. I only hope that all those people who were out there yesterday for this fight between two women, all those who turn out to Vibes Cartel and so on, I hope that they are conscious enough to know that we're in a sad place. Even you, your children, you might be getting little crumbs now. But let's look to see, is this what you want, to continue pole falling down, road broken up, fatal accidents every day on the road, police running and shooting indiscriminately? Is that what you want for your children and your grandchildren? Ask yourself that question and answer honestly. All them people who are in church and say them is pastor and they preach and all sort of thing, not for them corrupt more than anything else. And I know some people are going to feel offended, but it is true. Not for them only hiding under the religion to fulfill their personal needs. And I look at the flag. That is true. That is true, whether they like it or not. And I'm going to say it. I am going to say it. Because as you know, when we come on this program, we speak the truth. We speak the truth. They don't like the truth, but we speak the truth. Folks, we had a good morning. Again, happy Independence Day to my Guyanese brothers and sisters, and including the scrapeheads. Including the scrapeheads, whether you're a commander, whether you're ordinary scrape. Scrape is a scrape, right? Adriana Young's aunt referred to the president as a scrape. So if you're a scrape, you get scrape president, you get scrape vice president, you get scrape ministers, you get scrape preachers, you get scrape commanders. Scrape, you get scrapes all over the place. So whatever position you hold, if you're a scrape, you are a scrape. And I say this to you as I close and urge you, as I usually do, to be safe, accident and all things. And to say to you again that God's willing, we'll be here again when? Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock. for another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.